Hello and welcome to Weekly MTG. I'm your host, Blake Rasmussen, but I'm not here. Blah, blah, blah. We're starting off on a strong note, stumbling over my words. Today we are cracking some packs for Murders at Karlov Manor. Pre-releases are this weekend, so as is tradition here at Weekly MTG, we crack some packs to give you a sense of what is in the boosters. Now, there's a bit of a wrinkle this time around because Murders at Karlov Manor is the introduction of the play booster. So it's very unlikely that you have opened a play booster at this point. So we are going to spend some time going through these, looking at what that experience looks like. Of course, we've got a collector booster box here as well, so we can see all the shiny cool stuff and go through that. But we'll spend a good bit of time talking about play boosters, talking about what it's like to draft a play booster, and looking at that opening experience. Now, before we get to that, a couple pieces of news. One, tickets for MagicCon Amsterdam went on sale this morning, and I am being told these are flying off the virtual shelves and going quickly. So if you are interested in getting a badge for MagicCon Amsterdam, I highly suggest that you check in sooner rather than later on those tickets. Additionally, MagicCon Chicago badges are also currently on sale, but also running low. It's going to be a very busy weekend. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be hosting a preview panel as well as doing an assortment of other things. It's going to be a very busy weekend, so make sure to register for your ticketed play events as well if you've already purchased your badge so that you can do all the cool things. I've heard that Gavin's Unknown event is either sold out or close to sold out at Chicago, so definitely if you have not gotten your ticketed events, please do. We don't want you to miss out on cool things. Cool things are why we do what we do. Speaking of cool things, we're gonna open some packs. And normally on this show, we kick things off with collector boosters because it's the shiny and it's great. But we're actually gonna start with play boosters today because it is the new. And I know a lot of people are really interested in what this opening experience looks like. Ugh. As usual, open this on stream. So even though it causes me no end of grief. All right, so we're going to go through what it looks like to open a play booster. And you know, I opened my first play boosters this morning, and it was really cool. There's a bit of variance, there's a bit of wildness and uncertainty when you open it in a really cool way because there's all sorts of cool things popping up. So we'll talk through what all the different slots are, what you can get. We'll do a little pack one, pick one as well, but it's going to be a good time. All right, we will start this off. Now, these ones, a couple things. These packs are making sure, yeah. So these are going to be in kind of reverse order, but the slots are kind of the same. So one, you're going to get a slot that has a non-card object. This can be a token. It can be an art card. In this case, it can be a punch-out card. So this is actually great because it's a first look at these reminder helpers. So if a creature is suspected, you can get this. If a case is solved, you've got this. Unlock counters, case solved, -1/-1 counters, flying poison, all kinds of things. They punch out. They're super helpful. So these will be useful for your pre-release this weekend, so you can show when things are suspected and all that. All right. Anyway, so that'll be one slot. Then you're going to have the basic land slot. I'm going to go through these slowly as we start this, and then we'll go through them faster. Basic land slot in Murders at Karlov Manor specifically, it can be foil, it can be regular, it can be the impossible lands, it can be these. All right, so then we're going to get in these boosters. Let's go like this. Let's do this. So we're going to get the foil slot. Foil slot can be a foil of any kind. In this case, we have a foil common. Then you're going to have your rare mythic. You will always have a rare mythic in this slot. There are a number of slots where you can get rares or mythics in this. We will see some of that as we go along. Then you're going to get hit with a run of 4 cards that are going to be 3 uncommons and usually 1 wild card. So in this case, the wild card is probably this Vengeful Tracker and 3 uncommons. We're going to talk about why those 4 are together, why there's a wild card as we get a different example of it. Noting that in Murders at Karlov Manor, I believe it's 1 in every 6 packs are going to have, in that wildcard slot, one of the rare Surveil lands. Let me double check to make sure. 1 in 6 play boosters will have one of the 10 rare dual lands in the slot. So we're going to see that in a bit. And then you're going to have either 6 or 7 commons. The 7th common is going to be occasionally a card from the list. Don't have one in this one. Now, here's something else I want to point out. You can get booster fun cards in any of these normal slots. So they are not limited to just the wild card slot. You can get them just here. So there is an auspicious arrival in the booster fun treatment. Let's keep going. Get some more examples because we're going to see a wide variety. So again, here's some different. So this is the art card rather than the punch out. We got an art card, and then we get an impossible land. So here's a non-foil basic island in that impossible style. Foil. So again, this is another example of, this is the rare mythic slot, and you can get a booster fun version. So here we have Tristani 3 Whispers in that legendary version, legendary frame, legendary Ravnica City frame. So then we're going to look and see, we've got 4 uncommons. So the Wrench is the wild card, Buried in the Garden, Essence of Antiquity, Case of the Shattered Pact, and then we go into the uncommons, and it's a normal assortment of commons there. Yes, the list cards are legal in limited. Anything that is a Magic card that you open in a play booster can be played in limited events. All right, so here we have a token. There's another example of what you can get in. I'll move that down so we can actually see that. An impossible land. So now the foil slot. So this is where we're going to see play boosters with multiple rares and mythics. Here the foil slot is a mythic Vannifar Evolved Enigma. So this play booster is going to have at least 2 rares. And then we've got the Pyrotechnic Performer for that rare there. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is another way I want to say. So the wild card can be any rarity. Now, what's going to happen occasionally, and I think they just did some card slot drop magic. Say that 3 times fast. And in these particular ones, if the wild card is a common, it just drops with the commons. So it's not that we're missing it, it's just that the wild card is a common and they drop them all together. Impossible lands are fancy lands. There's also rare dual lands, which we will see. All right, so here's an example of a list card. So this is Molten Psyche. This is not in the set. You'll see the little Planeswalker symbol in the lower left. So that this means that this pack will have only 6 commons in it. So we'll put list cards down there. Here is the foil. Here is the rare. All right, this is the wild card slot. So this is one of the rare dual lands, and it is, in this case, the full art version. So that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to drop in the wild card slot, but there we have wild card slot, and then we have 3 uncommons, and here's an example of you can get the booster fun version in that slot. And then, as you can see here, because we got a card from the list, we have 6 commons. Pretty cool. Yes, the list cards are playable in limited. Are the non-limited legal cards somehow marked? They're anything you open in a play booster is eligible to play in limited. So this Molten Psyche, fair game. Play it. All right, so we got more punch outs. Basic land. Here is our foil rare. Here is our, not foil rare, foil card. Here is our rare. In this case, we get a booster fun version. And now, here's the wild card slot. Again, it could be anything, even an elephant. In this case, it's a rare card in that wild card slot. Then we've got 3 uncommons. And then we've got our commons. And again, note that the booster fun versions can just be in there with everything else. So right now we're looking at, we've opened 4 packs and, is that right? No, 5 packs. Yeah, we've opened 5 packs, and of those 5 packs, 3 of them have had 2 rares. 2 rares or mythics. Pre-release cards are not eligible. So on those, there are 3 special pre-release cards that are not eligible to play. They are marked in the pack. There is, we've learned that lesson. So there is an insert in there that says, stop, do not play these cards. Absolutely, we've learned that lesson. So I was pretty thankful for that too, because I know it caused a lot of confusion. So yes, the pre-release pack does have something in it that lets you know which of the cards are not available for your pre-release deck. All right, again, this is the basic land slot. In this case, it's foil. It can be foil. Here's our foil card, Scene of the Crime. Vanifar as our rare mythic slot. And then our wild card slot is another rare. So we're averaging somewhere around like 1.7 rares per pack. And then we've got the uncommons. And then the commons. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. I would have a heyday if Muldrifter was in this set. I'd accept the Cloud Blazer. All right, we got a detective token. We got one of the foil impossible basic lands. Now, if you love these, we are going to look at collector boosters in a moment, and one of these is in every collector booster. There. Will the list cards show up in arena drafts for the set? So the special guests show up on arena, the list shows up on arena, but there are some differences between the lists, some slight differences, and we've already published that list. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Here's a new 4-mana Wrath variant, no witnesses. And then let's see. Okay, so in this case, our wild card is a common. So you're going to see 8 commons here. And just because it's great, we'll say Undercover Crocodile is that wild card. All right, we'll do 2 more play boosters, and then we will jump into some collector boosters. All right, so here, our 15th slot is that art card. And then we got a non-foil impossible land, Magnifying Glass for the foil. Our rare mythic is Leyline of the Guild Pact. And then we've got 1, 2, 3. So it looks like we have another common in the wild card slot here. So 8 commons. All right, last one, and then we will jump into collector boosters for a little bit. And then after collector boosters, we'll come back and do some pack 1, pick 1 kind of draft stuff. All right, so there's an art card. And then we got a foil regular basic land. Foil, that. Anzrag's Rampage for our rare mythic. Story Spotlight. And then we hit our uncommons. And it looks like another common for our wild card. All right. Let's jump to that. So, yeah, pretty, gosh, I didn't keep track, but I think we were probably about 50-50 on packs with multiple rares in them, plus a bunch of foils. We hit a list card rare, so pretty good hit rate there. So now we're gonna do collector boosters. I'm gonna drink this off screen, and then we're going to crack this. So the collector boosters are going to be pretty familiar in terms of their layout. If you've opened a collector booster before, Murders at Karlov Manor is going to have a lot of the same slots and same sort of feel, I guess, is the word. So we'll look at that, and we will go through collector boosters. And I'll pull this up to make sure I don't say anything silly. All right. So we are going to go from the back, because I believe that's the order these are in. All right, so we're going to start with the 4 commons. 4 foil commons, I should say. 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to get 3 foil uncommons. 1, 2, 3. Then we are going to get our foil impossible basic land. We got a plains in this case. Shiny, beautiful, lovely. Okay. Then we're going to hit 2. There's going to be 2 booster fun commons or uncommons. The first one's going to be non-foil. The second one's going to be foil, or vice versa. Yep. All right. So booster fun, Gleaming Geardrake. Booster fun, foil murder. That's pretty cool. Okay. So then we're going to hit traditional foil rare mythic. So in this case, Krenko. This is always going to be a rare mythic from the main set. Always going to be foil. It can be one of the dual lands. Then we're going to see a non-foil extended art from the main set, Blood Spatter Analysis. And then we're going to see an extended from the commander set. And this one could be foil or not foil. Most of the time it's going to be non-foil. Here we've got Immortal Obligation. And then we're hitting the Booster Fun Rare Mythic in non-foil. Slide these down a little bit. Ezram Agency Chief there. And then finally we're going to hit, I like to call this the foil fancy slot. That's not the actual term, but the foil fancy slot is a foil rare or mythic in one of the Booster Fun treatments, in this case extended. And then you get a foil double-sided token. Detective and Goblin. All right. It would be cool to see one of the hidden ink cards. I would not mind opening one of those up. All right. All right, 4 foil. Oop. Oh, I just opened a play booster. That's not right. I saw the comment about they should have fewer foil commons, and you know the nice thing is that this is the fastest. You know, a lot of people like to collect foil sets, or they like certain foil commons. This is the fastest way to get foils in common or uncommon. You always get 4 commons. It's a good way to help build the set. That said, the number of commons and uncommons has fluctuated and generally gone down in collector boosters over time, so it's something we're always evaluating. Foil Impossible Swamp. All right, we got Dramatic Accusation for that non-foil Booster Fun, and then foil Booster Fun. Again, these 2 slots are commons or uncommons. And then we hit the row of rares, as we'll call it here. So foil rare or mythic, Izoni. Non-foil extended from the main set, Unyielding Gatekeeper. That card looks pretty good. And then a card from the commander release, Ransom Note. And then Booster Fun rare or mythic in non-foil. Ooh, Elegant Parlor, one of the new dual lands. And then we've got Lamplight Phoenix in extended for the rare mythic. And then we've got Thopter, Merfolk. All right, let's keep opening these. Some players like me are wondering why we have so many reprints, and Wizards can give some explanations. Cost reduction, lack of ideas. Also, how some cards made a commander and working. There's a lot that's not answered. I mean, that's certainly a meaty topic that we could spend an entire show on. But it's interesting to get asked why we do. You know, there was a time. It's an interesting calibration and I'm not stumbling over the answer. I'm trying to think of the best way to answer it, because we get calls for reprints all the time. And why don't you reprint this more? Please reprint these. And then, you know, we opened that up a bit. We started doing some cool reprints, finding ways to get new treatments out there. And then we've had people asking, well, why are you doing all these reprints? And the answer is, people asked for it. People like reprints. Additionally, just practically speaking, the Magic audience keeps growing. And as the Magic audience keeps growing, people who missed those cards the first time around want to have a chance to get access to them. This is not an invisible ink version, but it's still pretty cool. Skeleton, Thopter. So like I said, we could spend an entire show on reprints and hitting that sweet spot where players feel like they have access to what they need and all that sort of jazz, but it's a longer conversation. And I'm not the expert. I talk to the experts a lot, but I am not the expert. I actually really love how this one looks. The colorless case of the Shattered Pact. We could do an entire show about it. We're booked out for a little bit, but it is an interesting topic. Got a homicide investigator. Prof's eidetic memory. Probably stumbled over that word. Counterpoint. So again, this is the commander slot here. Sharp-eyed rookie. And then we've got so someone was asking earlier if there are serialized cards in this set. The answer is yes. Here is an example. So the legends, the Ravnica legends, the guild leaders, have this city frame. And those cards can be found serialized out of 250. Here is Niv Mizzet Guild Pact. This is serialized 177 out of 250. So this is the slot where you'll find it in collector boosters. You're not going to open these very often. I'm pretty sure this is the first one of these I've opened on stream. And they're pretty great. Yep. All right, we did that on stream, so you're welcome, everyone. We're just gonna leave that right there and keep going because there's more goodness to see. So that was pretty cool. My reaction is because we've talked about that happening a lot, and we've always dodged it. We've always dodged it on stream, like, oh, what would we do if we open one of those serialized cards? I don't know. And it's just always not happened until today. Here is from that pack. I don't want to walk by this because of the Niv Mizzet, but so something strange is going on when you open these up, because here's a clue token, and that's not a token on the back. It seems to be some kind of part of a picture. I don't know. There's some stats. That's weird. That's not normal. I don't know. All right. All right. Yep, that happened. All right. So let's keep going. We got more good stuff to open. All right. 4 foil commons, including that murder there. 3 foil uncommons. Let's look at that impossible land. We got the plains. All right, we got some booster fun here. We got some meddling youths. We got makeshift binding. Actually, this is a story spotlight card, and actually, I really love this art in foil. Yeah, so if you aren't following the story, this is when they bind Oba, the central head. Foil Archdruid's Charm. That's spicy. And then we've got Assassin's Trophy, one of those reprints. You know, the other thing reprints do that's pretty cool, that's hard, that's just not the same as new cards, is they pull you back into a world you've been before. So Assassin's Trophy is very much a Ravnica card, and even though this set isn't Ravnica in the same way, it's not the guilds, it's a murder mystery taking place on Ravnica, that sort of stuff provides a lot of the feeling of being back there. Experiment 12, nice callback there. Then we've got Underground Mortuary, one of the new dual lands. And then we've got Vanifar Evolved Enigma. And then we've got a human token and a detective. All right. Oh, boy. All right, let's keep opening. It was not, we do open a box of collector boosters every set on stream, so hypothetically it could happen. I will say there was one time that I do test packs beforehand to make sure I fully understand the cadence of opening it up. And I did open a serialized card not too long ago in my test packs, which was a blast. But yeah, it's pretty great. I have a couple serialized cards, not many. Dispose the culprits. Experiment 12 is not. Experiment 12 is a reference to. There is a card from a Ravnica set called Experiment 1 with Evolve. So we're apparently up to experiment number 12 now. All right, Kylox Volt Strider for the rare mythic foil. Outrageous Robbery for that extended MKM card. And then Sophia Dogged Detective. I love this. And then we've got World Souls Rage for that. And then we've got Kylox Visionary Inventor in that slot. We got Thopter and a Detective. All right, let's finish out some more collector boosters. Can we get some more Fallout spoilers, please? Not yet. We're getting closer, but we're not there yet. Okay, let's see. Where are the other 10 experiments? That's a great question. I don't actually know the answer to that. All right, commons. Uncommons. I haven't gotten a No More Lies yet, have I? That's what I want. I want some No More Lies for Canadian Highlander. Deduce. Foil Deduce. I love when that happens, especially when it's a card I like. All right. We've got one of the dual lands. The theater there. 10th District Hero, Maliva the Stalwart. If you are a generous human, you will let your opponent play this as their commander. Ooh, Coust, Eyes of the Glade. So this is one of the face cards for the commander decks, the Naya one, obviously. And here we got it in foil extended. So this goes to show, no, we've been getting these in non-foil. You can get foils in this slot as well for commander cards. And then Doorkeeper Thrall. Yeah, this card's sneaky powerful. And then we've got Wojek Investigator. Angel Detective. Not Invisible Ink. It'd be nice to open an Invisible Ink one to look at, he says after opening a serialized card. Can you draft with collector boosters? You could. They aren't built for that. However, there are enough commons and uncommons. You could probably give it a shot. I don't know what the correct number of packs is. I don't know what the decks would look like. But you know what? If you want to, go for it. Island. Auspicious Arrival. Convenient Target. Another one of those. Undergrowth Recon. Mob Verdict. Massacre Girl, known killer. Oddly enough, not the killer in this story. Spoiler alert. And we got that foil Krenko. All right. We got 4 more of these. We'll do 4 more of these, and then we'll do some pack one, pick ones. So in each box is a serialized card. No, no. That was why I reacted the way I reacted. Those are not going to be regular occurrences. They are very collectible. Yeah. But we did it. We did it, stream. It's one of the reasons I love this stream. Get to open some cool stuff. I love, we can talk more about these in the draft boosters, but I love the design of these, the split cards, that they have a cheap one on this side and a more expensive one on this side because they work for collecting evidence. So it's a great way to help you collect evidence in Limited. And they're just cool effects that scale. Really well designed. Murder. And if you don't know, so this treatment with the magnifying glass, these are all going to be spells, not creatures, and they're all story spotlights. So they all, the idea is you're taking a closer look at these moments. So this is a moment from earlier on when there was obviously a murder. The auspicious arrival is Proft arriving. It's auspicious that he did so. We got a Thundering Falls. And Lost in the Maze. Have you opened any cards with different colors in the art? What a puzzling question. That was super obvious, but Unexplained Absence. I love this art too, where they're just not there. That's the commander card. Then we've got Meticulous Archive. This is one of the extended dual lands, and then Urgent Necropsy. All right, 3 more collector boosters, and then we'll go back to pack one, pick one. So when collecting evidence, you count the cheap side, the expensive side, or both. So the way, someone please correct me if I'm wrong. The way that these work for casting cost is it is an and. So this one counts for 8 in collecting evidence, I believe. You add them together. The answer is you get, because if a card asks what is this card's casting cost, the answer is it's 2 and it's 6. And yeah. So it's 8. Where are we? All right, we're in commons. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I don't understand the point in avoiding questions or features of the set. I'm not trying to avoid. Did I miss a question? There's my No More Lies. This card's great. It's made for me. I appreciate it. Yeah, if there's a question I missed, I'm happy to get to it. I'm not trying to avoid anything. Because I'm opening sweet cards and serialized Nib Mizzets. We got our foil rare or mythic there. Extended non-foil. Going through. Take the bait. That's our commander card. There's that. Oops. And then we got a foil underground mortuary. And then again, this token, weird. Weird. And looks kind of like it's part of that other scene. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Are we getting Secret Lair news today? Not from me. Not from me. Different colors and the art of the clues, clearly speaking about different features. Okay, so for those who don't know, there is a puzzle in this set. So a couple weeks back during the debut, we shared a video with Mark Gottlieb in it where he talks through the puzzle and how there's a bunch of cool stuff. Now, the puzzle doesn't actually kick off. You can't really do much with it until pre-release weekend, which is this upcoming weekend. So you're getting some glimpses of some things this weekend. So if I'm being coy about something, chances are it is related to the puzzle or maybe related to the puzzle. I'm not trying to be coy about the product. I am trying to let people enjoy solving a puzzle. Now, I love this art. It speaks to me. I don't know why. It's just beautiful. Thanks, Jeremy Wilson. It's fantastic. So I'm honestly not trying to avoid things. I'm just trying to avoid spoiling puzzle fun for people. So if you see me being coy, it's just puzzle stuff, man. It's just puzzle stuff. All right. Ooh, persuasive interrogators. That's pretty. We got foil rare mythic. All right, Doppelgang, Foreboding Steamboat, I love that callback, Hedge Maze, and Enzrag's Rampage, followed by a clue. Interesting. All those kind of scene-looking things are on the back of clues. Interesting. How much to rip the Niv Mizzet? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those are the commons. 1, 2, 3. There won't be any commander extra cards in this set. Yes, so correct. That is one of the changes that were made with the move to play boosters. So we used to have a set of commander legal cards that were not in the commander decks but could only be found in set boosters. Set boosters went away. With that, we also stopped doing the commander cards that were outside the commander pre-constructed decks. So that is not something we are currently doing. Detective of the Month. I love that. City's Blessing. It's like the key to the city. All right, Enzrag's Rampage. And Ezrim, Agency Chief. Followed by another clue. Another clue. All right. Those are all the collector boosters I have. So I only brought one box. So we'll do some pack one, pick one with the play boosters. Any update on the Netflix series? I do not have an update on the Netflix series. When are we draft picking? Right now. We're doing it. All right. So this is the play booster I accidentally opened earlier when I thought I was opening collector boosters. I did not open any hidden ink foils, but I am going to leave that just a little serialized Niv Mizzet right there. It's just going to hang out. All right. So pack one, pick one. We're gonna see. Ooh, Assassin's Trophy. Okay, so this is an example. I don't know that we opened when I opened them before. This is a wild card slot. So this black-red dual land is in the wild card slot. All right. So we got a few options here. I don't think we're taking the dual land this early. Take the dog token. You can just have the dog token. You don't need to draft it. By Elena Danner, friend of the show. Actually, if it's by Elena, I need to keep that because my wife collects art cards with art by Elena Danner. All right. So here, Assassin's Trophy, strong first pick, unconditional removal. The basic land especially earlier in the game, can be kind of backbreaking, but it's still pretty powerful. Now, if you want to go down a level in power, but up in consistency, I suppose, plus you can keep it single color, makeshift binding is a pretty solid choice here. From there, I mean, Crime Stopper Sprite is your kind of typical Windrake with extra ability. Perimeter Enforcer is solid. You know, Fuss and Bother is pretty good and flexible. I don't know that it's better. You know, I've also not played this format, so I'm kind of guessing. Detective Satchel is cool, but I think that we're probably not going to go that hard into Blue-Red Investigate right off the bat. So I'm going to say I would probably, early in the format, take Makeshift Binding, but that could be wrong. The other thing to consider here is that if we take Makeshift Binding, we just said Perimeter Enforcer and Fuss and Bother, both of which are white cards, are relatively high picks here. And so we might be end up fighting for white, but I'm probably sending someone into Assassin Trophy. Slam Against Humanity is fine. Yeah. We don't know the archetypes offhand. Actually, that's a great point. Archetypes. Each box comes with this little handy thing that has some archetypes on it. So blue-white is detectives. They're a bunch of creatures that have detective card types, and you can draft them. Oh, and then, see, that's even better. And then clues control, black-blue, uses a lot of clues, a lot of, like, if you draw your second card, that sort of thing. Black-red suspect aggro, you're going to want to suspect your own creatures in a lot of those cases. Red-green is big disguise, so you're going to disguise cards, you're going to flip them up. Green-white, go wide disguise. Similar idea, but you're going to want more instead of bigger. Pint-sized disguise, so there's a lot of cards that have, you know, if a creature has 2 or less power, especially in white, but also in black, so that's going to happen in white-black. Artifact Sacrifice, so we saw that blue-red card that we considered for a moment in the last pack. That's pretty typical for the Artifact Sacrifice deck. Green-black, Gray Break, so you're going to collect a lot of evidence. Battalion, white-red, go wide, be aggressive, attack a lot. And then blue-green, collect evidence as well, is going to use large spells to power up collect evidence. All right. So now let's look at the next pack. So we've got that. We got basic land. Oh, we hit a card from the list. Again, this card is perfectly draftable. And it's a really strong card. With all of the clues and Thopters and whatnot, we can actually play that. And look at that. Detective Satchel right along with it. Archdruid's Charm. Very powerful card, but mono green might be a barrier. Knife. So these, the weapon clue equipments, are the only cards that are from the clue set and also found in, where is it called? Lightning Helix is back, everyone. Hard to get past that. Insidious Roots is a really powerful card that can go with tokens. It can go with collect evidence. There's some really good cards in this pack. Bow Thoroughfare to fix some mana. Goblin Mask Maker lets you be, so when we're talking about red-white, kind of aggressive, this lets you really go aggressive. It can also help ramp out your red-green big disguise creatures. Boy. So I think we're taking a multi. I like Archdruid's Charm. I think the triple green is more than I want to do. I think you could absolutely take the Maverick Thopterist. But I honestly think Lightning Helix and Insidious Roots are probably the 2 most powerful cards in this pack. It's hard to tell. This card looks insane. But it may be difficult to build around, and in that case, Lightning Helix is just the safer pick. Helix is real strong, and you should pick it a lot, as much as you can. So, but that was a cool example of getting a list card in the pack, and it honestly, like, we thought about first picking it because of its synergies with the rest of the set, which is really cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. Got about 15 minutes left, so we'll do this for a little bit. I do also want to mention, so Murders of Karlov Manor is, of course, standard legal, and a lot of these cool cards are going to be available starting this weekend for standard play. If you're going to MagicCon Chicago, or if you want to go to MagicCon Chicago, or if you're thinking about going to MagicCon Chicago, the Chicago 75K Standard Open is coming up. There are still some spots left to register for that event. You can register through the MTG Festival's website if you are already headed to MC Chicago. So definitely check that out. The Standard Open, Standard's heating up right now. There's a lot of cool decks with an RCQ season on its way. A lot of people are picking it up, so Chicago 75K is available if you're headed to Chicago. All right, so here we got a couple options. So Audience with Tristani wants you to play a lot of tokens. It's a pretty strong card. It'll at least draw you a card, and it can do a lot more. Samala Sentry is an example of one of the signpost uncommons in this set, like the blue-red artifact one we saw. So this is going to tell you to play a lot of face-down disguise creatures. Tunnel Tipster fits into multiple face-down archetypes, and it's just a good mana creature that gets a little bonus if you're turning things face up. Novice Investigator down here, just a solid all-around card that you will always play. I think... What does this card do? Target creature attacks or blocks. I think probably early in the format, I would pick Audience with Tristani to see how it plays out. It is, again, is one of those cards, like, if you can get the tokens going, that card could draw you a bunch of cards. It's always, you know, it only costs a green and 2. So yeah, I'm gonna make that my call, and you want to go with tokens because, you know, even if you just have one other token, it'll often be just green divination, and it can go much, much bigger than that. So we'll say that. We will say that. All right. I also recommend, if this looks fun to you, if these cards look good, talk to your local game store. Oh, here we got another list card. Talk to your local game store about your pre-release this weekend. Oh man, we got a lot of options in this one because they can sell out quickly. And so make sure you reserve your spot with your local game store if you're looking to play. Better to call sooner rather than later. All right. All right. We got some good options here. So Treacherous Terrain, basic land cycler in that slot. The cool thing about Treacherous Terrain, besides just being card, is it's very good for collecting evidence. So you land cycle it for 2, and then you've got an 8 cost card in your graveyard. And then if you happen to get to 8 mana at any point, you probably just kill your opponent by that point in the game. What else? Here's something I want to call out when you're looking at draft picks. So Disguise, Mark Rosewater said that the Disguise rule, the rule from Morph is still in effect, where if a card has Disguise, it will not kill another face-down 2/2 for less than 5 mana. So in this case, you see a creature with double strike, it's a 3/2. If this is in combat with a 2/2, it would kill it. So the disguise cost is 5 mana. If you see a disguise cost that is lower, then at best it will trade. So disguise here is 2 and then 2 hybrid black-red. Notice it's a 4/2. So if this gets in a fight with a face-down disguise creature, and gets turned face up, they will both die and they will trade. So something to keep in mind for your limited games. There is definitely a threshold when you hit 5 mana about what the face down cards mean. All right. So I love the idea of the Pride of Hulklade. I'm not sure that it's easy to make work. It's a great card for collect evidence, but I think our options here are Loxodon Eavesdropper is just a solid card that it comes with a clue. You get to investigate, and when you draw, it gets bigger when you draw your second card. That's pretty reasonable. But I think we probably take Archdruid's. Here's the thing about Archdruid's Charm. You're almost never going to search for the land. The fight mode is great. The exile artifact or enchantment's fine. You're really paying for 3 green for what is probably a fight card, which is okay. It's not amazing. And so I'm not completely sold by Archdruid's Charm, but I'd probably look at one of the green cards here. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now, speaking of MagicCon Chicago, next week we are going to have some of the featured artists from MagicCon Chicago on this show, including the aforementioned Elena Danner. An employee is not sure. What am I not sure about? I'm not sure about a lot of things. I am not all-knowing. All right, let's see. We got a number of good options here. So, Case of the Gateway Express is a case that also can act as removal. Sharp-Eyed Rookie is a pretty strong card that can provide you some card advantage as the game goes on. It's also just a 2/2 for 2, which is always going to be strong. Sanguine Savior here is probably going to be one of the premium commons if you're in black-white. And then Bite Down on Crime is going to be a pretty good removal spell as well. So I think we're looking at one of these, probably one of these, one of these. And again, early on, I would simply take the rare to see how it plays out. But I wouldn't be surprised if this card ends up being highly valued. Flying Lifelink is really good. The Disguise cost is fantastic. Yeah. Crawl Whipcracker is a strong card, but there might be some preference playing into that. You be over here. Yep, Pride of the Hulklade definitely goes in Arcades. Definitely goes in Arcades. All right, we'll do a couple more of these. We are just about out of time. I don't need that. Foil the Deuce. Case of the Stashed Skeleton. All right, so we have the blue-green Signpost Uncommon here. So at the beginning of your turn, you can collect evidence 4, and if you do, you investigate. It's a 2/2 for 2. Probably a pretty strong card here. The rare is Case of the Stashed Skeleton. You get a 2/1 suspected skeleton, and then to solve it, all you have to do is control no suspected skeletons. You can often just sacrifice it or find a way to kill your own skeleton. And then what you get is essentially Demonic Tutor. It seems fairly strong, but you got to have other cards to search for. I think Granite Witness is going to be another sort of premium common. Inside Source is pretty good. It creates, so this is sort of one of the commons you'll want a bunch of in that blue-white detective archetype. But it might be even Forum Familiar. When it's turned face up, return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. So you can, for example, reuse something like a case. And then also this gets bigger. It disguises. And I didn't mention it because it's kind of boring, but galvanizes your base level red removal spell for this deck. It's really strong. You can't go wrong picking it here. The pick is probably Galvanize. Could be Case of the Stash Skeleton, but I think it's probably Galvanize. I have no additional information about secret layer timing or reveals or anything like that. I do not. It's a secret? Nah. It's not. I don't know off the top of my head. Spent all my time prepping for what's in the packs. Okay. And you'll see we're getting those lands relatively frequently. They should appear about 1 in every 6 boosters. All right. So, rare cards like Outrageous Robbery, very cool. That's probably not meant for limited. Living Conundrum, also, again, very cool. Tough to make work. So, Case of the Filched Falcon is pretty good. It feeds into that blue-red clue archetype. Neighborhood Guardian's going to be kind of run-of-the-mill for that base 2 power sort of deal. Man. The Cold Case Cracker, it's a 3/3 flyer. When it dies, you investigate, but just being a 3/3 flyer is pretty strong. But I think the pick here is Makeshift Binding. Just get some removal out there. Do the thing. Do the thing. All right, last pack. And then we're going to call it. So, reminder, a couple things I said earlier in the show. MagicCon Amsterdam tickets went on sale this morning, and they were still available when I got on stream, but they were going pretty fast. So, I don't know if that means they're going to sell out or not, but if you want to go to MC Amsterdam, I recommend checking that out sooner rather than later. For some reason, I'm doing this backwards. And additionally, MagicCon Chicago, which is going to have a pretty hefty preview panel. Wow, we're just hitting all of the dual lands here. MagicCon Chicago still has some badges left, but is running low. So if that's something you're interested in and you just haven't gotten to it yet, definitely go buy your badge for MagicCon Chicago. Additionally, if Standard's your bag, MagicCon Chicago has that 75K open and is going to be a pretty good time. All right, last pick here. I've got a Galvanize in the foil, pretty strong. Tulsimir, it's a Tulsimir. It comes with Voja, which is a 5/5. It's a pretty strong card. It's really hard to beat a Tulsimir here. Wisp Drinker Vampire is sort of the signpost uncommon for the black-white archetypes. So that's absent Tulsimir, I might take that. Dogwalker, again, if you want to draft the white-red, go wide archetype, really strong. But I think it's hard to get away from Tulsimir. So that'll be our final pick. All right, thank you for tuning in. We are going to be back next week on Weekly MTG with 3 of the featured artists from MagicCon Chicago, including, and I'm going to read these names off, Magali is going to be here. Everyone loves Magali. And then we're going to have, Elena Danner and Leo. I apologize. I'm forgetting your last name. It is on the MagicCon Chicago website. He's one of the featured artists. So Leo Magali and Elena are going to be here next week to talk art and talk about what it's like to be a featured artist at a MagicCon and what you can expect at MagicCon Chicago. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.